Peace and welcome. Today we have our top 10 jungle themes in gaming. Guidelines include, as always, one per franchise, and lastly, we are talking about jungles and not forests. For our top 10 forest themes, see this video right here. With no further delay, here are our favorite jungle themes. And at number 10, we have Super Tekkyu Fight, the tropical jungle theme. A theme that has a very old school Konami feel. It reminds me of Gradius and Life Force. However, this is a Banpresto game that was released in 1995 for the Super Famicom. This theme just seems way too action-packed for this game. At first glance, Super Tekkyu Fight is a little bit similar to Bomberman, but when you play it, you will realize it is a bit different. The credits in the game say Maz and less series. With a little bit of research, I found that to be Sven Maz. You can find his Twitter at Sven Maz. I couldn't find credits for each individual track, so I contacted him and asked him if he created this theme. I am glad to say he reported back, and yes, this theme is by Sven Maz. I am glad to get that cleared up, and credit goes to the right person. Also, thanks to Maz for the reply. Number 9, the Jungle Battle theme from Pop Fomeo on the PC Engine CD. Up next is the PCE CD port of the RPG Pop Fomeo, released in 1994 and only in Japan. We went with the PC Engine version for a few reasons. The Sega CD soundtrack utilizes that Yamaha sound chip. For some reason, the devs opted for that over PCM Red Book Audio, and I do like how it sounds. It seems like a mix of PCM and the Yamaha chip. The drums are clear, and then mix that with the synth, and it's a really nice theme. Now, that brings me to the PCE CD version of this theme. It utilizes the CD aspect of the console and you can hear the clarity. In my opinion, this is the version to listen to. Number 8, from Streets of Rage 2, the Jungle Bass theme. Our next up is a franchise and a composer that seem to end up on almost every top 10 that we do, but with good reason. I think we have reached that point in the list where all we have left is the ultimate top tier. This theme and its fast tempo are a good fit for a game where you stay active most of the time. Between stages, you can get in a quick rest, but then it's right back to the action. It's also a good theme to play at a show. Here is the Red Bull Music Festival in 2018. Lucky number 7 comes from Ninja Gaiden 3, the Ancient Ship of Doom, the jungle theme. Coming from the NES, it has the classic chiptune sound that the console is known for. When done right, it's one of the best sounding retro consoles. One of the more intense beats on our list today. This is a great representation of the NES, and it would work with any action game that needs some extra kick. When you take a good game and add equally as good music, you have a winning recipe. This feels like a Ninja Gaiden theme, even though the third OST was arranged and composed by different people than the first two games. They went their own direction with the music, but this one has a feel that would work in any of the Ninja Gaiden games. Our number 6 spot comes from Kingdom Hearts, the Deep Jungle theme. Up next, we have another composer that seems to be on every top 10 that we do, Yoko Shimomura. The Deep Jungle theme has some percussions in there that sound a little bit tribal, so that kind of helps tie it in with the jungle sort of feel. I really enjoy the flute on this one. It helps complete the track and take it over the top. I could picture this theme in a number of games, but in my opinion, it really fits in an RPG. It's a good theme for a jungle, or really any wooded area. It has the feel of a quest with a looming sense of danger. Number 5, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, Angel Island Zone. There were a few options in the Sonic franchise. I really enjoyed the Jungle Zone theme from the Master System and Game Gear, so here is a quick honorable mention. However, when thinking about it, I like the Jungle Zone theme, but Angel Island is a classic. Sonic 1 and 2 have some of the best music on the Genesis, but not too far behind them is Sonic 3, and I am sure some people would say Part 3 is better than both. This theme has a nice, smooth feel. I think the composer did a great job not letting that Genesis twang infect the music. If you work with the twang and use it to your advantage, I think you end up with something like this. Number 4, Donkey Kong Country Jungle Groove, aka DK Island Swing. Unlucky number 4 is one that appears multiple times in the series, but we will go with the 1994 Super Nintendo game Donkey Kong Country, the first game featuring this melody. Composed by David Wise, a popular and skilled composer that I think is a master of environmental music. Give him a setting or a specific environment, and he is the type to make the perfect music. We don't talk about drums enough, and I do gotta say, the drums and percussions on this one are impressive. That's a Super Nintendo making those sounds. The melody appeared again in the Donkey Kong series when Grant Kirkhope composed Jungle Japes for Donkey Kong 64, which we will play for you now. number 3, our bronze position, we have the classic Blanka theme from Street Fighter II. So up next we have a theme that has appeared in many different versions of the game. We opened with CPS 1, and here is now CPS 2. Also find it on the Sega Genesis as well as the Super Nintendo. Both of those versions take on the typical characteristics of the consoles. Arranged and composed by Yoko Shimomura, who was on top of her game when she composed the Street Fighter II soundtrack. It's full of gems, and this is one of many. One of my favorite versions, and definitely the most underrated in my opinion, would come from Super Street Fighter II on the PC. Our silver spot today comes from the 1997 Nintendo 64 game, GoldenEye 007, and the Jungle Boss Fight theme. A stage that is silent for the most part, but once you reach Xenia, music will kick in and you will be met with this tune. Intense theme that lets you know it's going down. Its effects are amplified with the stage having no music before this. Imagine you are just walking along and boom, it starts suddenly. You know there's probably a huge obstacle coming up and most likely a boss fight. It also fits in with the rest of the soundtrack. I think it's one of the greats. It's one of the best parts of a legendary game. And before we get to number 1, we have a few honorable mentions. Our number 1 spot today comes from a classic. Here is the jungle theme from the 1988 version of Contra on the NES. A theme that appears on many different consoles. I think the most popular two would be the arcade and the NES. So these are the 2 versions we will be spotlighting. The original composition was composed by Kazuki Muraoka, and the first appearance of his tune was in the arcade game. His music was ported to the NES by Hidenori Maezawa and Kiyohiro Sada. It's one of the better ports, and one of the rare times that I prefer the NES soundtrack over the arcade. It may not make me think of a jungle, but it's too action-packed to ignore. One thing that I find funny, in the arcade this is known as Back in the Dense Forest, but on the NES it's the Jungle Stage theme. And considering we chose the NES theme over the arcade, we decided to allow it. So there you have our favorite jungle themes. I must say, there really isn't a single trope that stands out. Maybe it being a little bit tribal, but besides that, there's not much. Anyway, our next top 10 will be Wild West themes, either from a Western game or a Western stage. Last, but of course not least, big thanks to gold level patrons, Bearsona, Quantum X, and Chris Hayes. I am ICC, thanks for watching, peace.